Guys, give it up. We want the New Year. There we go. Oh, rodeo. 1, 2, 3.
Hey Trish, we have finally got you on a podcast. Holy moly. How long has it been since I've been trying to get you out of your boardroom and to talk to the community?
Oh, probably 9 years. You know me, I don't like the spotlight. I'd rather have Freddie do the interview, to be honest. Where is Freddie? Everyone knows me as Freestyle Freddy, so let's bring him in. All right, I'm Freddie. I'm going to do the interview for Trish.
Hello, Freddie. How you doing, buddy?
He's good. He's my work buddy. He's always in the office with me. How you doing, Greg? What's new with you?
Well, you know what? We are really getting into this whole business of flipping podcast series, and we're relaunching the Roe Show. We got a lot of different initiatives and a lot of different structures in place and a whole new team for 2026 to 2030 as we really formalize the FTA. So I wanted to just kind of get you on and at least be able to kind of address some of the stuff that we're doing for the community and at least be a little transparent of, okay, here's the new direction. Because you know, when we first started, we didn't know where we were going to go. There's so many opportunities. It was just a mayhem. And now it looks like we've been able to do enough solidifying work and construction of the community that the big players are really taking a serious look at this. And they want to know, what is the new FTA structure? So thanks for jumping on here. And I'm hoping that we can just talk a little bit what that structure looks like. And maybe you can kick it off and talk about your cool boardroom that you have here and maybe how we are up where the FTA was in the first couple of years and now what we're trying to transition it into as a more formal board of directors and all that.
Yeah, for sure. I like your tower, by the way.
We'll
talk about your tower later. Looks like you're working on some trampoline designs in the background there. That's kind of cool.
I got some stuff I'm working away with. Yeah, for sure.
Who's behind you there? Freddie helping you out?
I got Freddie here as well, yes, and he's just basically working right now, so I won't disturb him quite yet, but he's helping me out, making sure he keeps an eye on all my crazy ideas.
Yeah, well, I get a lot of people asking me, Trish, why did you get into this? What's your background? Why did you do trampoline? So it's kind of a long story. I'm not sure if we want to get into this, but I guess maybe it's time to tell our story of where I came from, what my background is, why I partnered with you, the crazy trampoline guy. But yeah, the background here is, let's just say we've evolved from two people with completely different backgrounds into a new FTA structure. So we've launched our first official advisory committee with members from the community. So we have athletes, parents, judges, brand leaders. And this is my background for my board meetings. So once a month, we're going to meet. There's about 15 of us so far. We're going to add a few more members just to discuss where the FTA is headed. It's time that I think we are more transparent with what you and I have built over the last 9 years and just bring people in from the community. Because when we first started, they were so young and literally the sport didn't exist. It was G-Tramp in the backyard. So we've now evolved 9 years later to this whole revolution of we're actually an action sport now. We were at the X Games. People are taking notice. So we have to become more corporate, which is kind of funny because when you and I first started, we always said, oh, let's not be corporate. Let's not be like the FIG. And now here I am sitting in my virtual boardroom having these board meetings going, well, I guess it's inevitable because if you're going to be a recognized sport, you need structure. So that's why I have my cool FTA background and my board table. It's not real. I wish I had a boardroom, but I don't.
Well, if we end up opening up our first training center, then we'll have a real one for sure. So thanks for the background. And you're 100% correct. Like, just like with coaching, I come from the coaching background. So I look at building businesses like building athletes. And the first rule is whenever you go into a gym, you don't just line the kids up and yell at them and start giving them instructions. You say, guys, go have some fun, go play around, give them a safe space to play in so they don't hurt each other or other athletes that might be focused. But the start of training should just be more exploratory, have some fun, learn what your body can do and what you like and don't like, and engage with all the people and just explore first. Then you can start thinking about structured competition and structured play and all that afterwards. And so the first couple of years, it was just, hey, what's the opportunity here? No one has really formalized acrobatics as an action sport before. A lot of people are looking to do it and kind of dream about it, but no one's been able to get as far as we have been able to. And no one from the flipping community, any of the subcultures, the Dodds and the tricking guys, they would die to be sitting and talking to the X Games. So this really kind of shows that, hey, we're playing at a different level, which means that it requires a different type of structure that everyone can understand. But the early years, you don't want to rush into it. So I don't think, if I could go back, I wouldn't rush it. I wouldn't just change and all of a sudden make a board, because you'd have a board of people that have no idea what they're doing. We needed to go out there and figure out what the opportunities was and make the mistakes behind closed doors so it didn't hurt everybody, and let them just know what they needed to know. But now that we've done that, we know where esports is, we know where the FTA festivals are, we know what the feeding structure is, the educational system, we know the memberships, all this thing. Now we can be a lot more transparent. So if you're going to work with the FTA board and run with them and do your monthly newsletters, I think that's great. What I'm going to be doing while you do that is I'm going to be in my so-called GRT tower, tinkering away with new commercial opportunities and investments. Think of me as the investment arm of the entire acrobatic community, because as far as I know, there's not one investment firm out there that specializes in building companies and projects within acrobatics exclusively. And that's what we're becoming, where it's way beyond just G-Tramp or just Freestyle Trampoline, but I'm looking from my so-called tower far and wide across all the land and looking at all of the different moving parts and saying, where have we not evolved? Where have we not revolutionized the acrobatic? Where are we leaving opportunities, money, and equity on the table that can be built up? And what's happening is GRT Network Incorporated is the company that now is working with entrepreneurs and different B2B networks and contractors and suppliers and brands and all these new types of people that might not work right within the FTA ecosystem that you're working with in your boardroom, but they're hungry and they're educated and they want to be able to build cool things like new production companies that maybe help film lots of different series across all the different flipping communities, or a whole esports league where there is no such thing as esports acrobatic gaming. That category does not exist. Why can't we make it exist? What about real estate? What about training centers? What about all these different opportunities where we can build equity in the community, but then work with the community to then let them lead it, right? If we build a training center, why can't the flipping community that we've already invested in actually help run that training center, get a great salary building whatever it is that they like, running these centers that they already know and love, and that frees you up to be able to kind of command from the command center, we'll call the FTA. And then I'm over here on the investment side thinking about how to build new opportunities. And then once the opportunity is, muddled away over here, prototyped, behind closed doors to a small set group, then once it's market viable, then we will present it through the FTA as a structured, systematic approach that then gets deployed through the community. And I think this is where these two structures being now officially separate into two different entities are going to help really alleviate some of the confusion people have had in terms of how we've operated this so far. And I think this is a great structure moving forward.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's been a long time coming. And like you said at the beginning, we didn't really know what we were doing at first. I mean, definitely you didn't know what you were doing at first. No offense. But I mean, I sat on boards before, volunteer boards and stuff like that. So I knew the structure, but I'd also seen the flip side of that, of how it can destroy a company, how it can destroy a sport. My background obviously isn't trampoline, but we can get into that in other podcasts. If you can convince me to do more than one, maybe I could try to do monthly. I think it would be cool to have a series. We just, talk to the founders of the FTA. I don't know what we could call it, Founders Corner, Founders Fireside Chat or something, where maybe one week I interview you and then you interview me, and we can just sort of get our story out there of how it all started and how we ended up where we are today. There's a lot to cover. We certainly could not cover it in an hour, that's for sure. I'm a little concerned there seems to be people falling out of your tower. Are those the ones that included?
They're the ones that got tossed off the tower because they didn't make the cut.
Well, I'm not coming to your tower anytime soon, if that's what you do to people.
You have to have a secret password. I haven't even given it to you. You stay with the FTA. I'm here locked in my tower with Freddy.
Yeah. No, but seriously, I agree. We need some structure. We need transparency. We need people in the community to feel like they have a part in the FTA. And this is where I come in with my background and I can say, all right, guys, there is a place for everybody. We do want to hear your opinions and your views, and we want to be able to vote on where the direction the community and the sport is going, because things are starting to move a lot faster now. We can talk one week about investment strategies. We'll have a podcast. I'm sure you're going to talk to Brian, our new executive of Flippin' TV, our media arm. We can talk about sponsorship searches with Tony. We have a new sponsor company. So we are updating the website and introducing all these people to the community, and things like rolling out memberships. What is a reasonable membership fee for people to pay? What do they get in return? All these kinds of things. I don't want to make arbitrary decisions. I want the community to weigh in. And actually, we had our first meeting last week, and we talked about memberships and what is reasonable. And it's interesting to hear from all the different viewpoints, to hear what a brand thinks, what a parent thinks compared to an athlete, or, do we separate juniors from the older kids? So all of these things are coming up for discussion. So what we'll do is we'll have a monthly newsletter where we can summarize, let's say, the minutes of the meeting and tell everyone what's going on. So I think that's a really cool direction for the community to go, to feel like they're part of that. I mean, they've always been part of our journey. I mean, we know a lot of them since they were little kids, but now they can really be a part of it physically, not just, emotionally, and coming to events. And where do they want the direction to go? Do they like the event structure? Do they want more events? Do they want less events? There's tons and tons of questions, and it's hard when you've got hundreds of athletes to deal with, but I'm hoping that it will filter through the community. So the ones that do join the meetings will then go and talk to all their buddies and say, hey, what do you think? This is what we're discussing. And they'll bring those thoughts to the meeting. So it's kind of like a filter down effect. And more grassroots level stuff, like, the Tramp Champs and the Meetup series. How do we formalize those to bring in the new talent so we can find the next junior champion that might be 8 or 9 years old right now, but in a few years he'll be a world champ. So yeah, that's where we're going with it.
Yep, no, I'm excited about it, and I'm excited about the idea that, that we're separating the commercial arm from then the organizational arm of it. And this is where I keep looking from my experience, which was Team Canada and the Olympic side of trampoline. And basically, I think there's just two major problems that really sparked, at least my momentum trying to get behind this whole freestyle action sports version, is simply because they weren't transparent. They just had their board meetings, and I was just a stupid little athlete in their eyes, and I was just a slave, and just do this, Greg, and shut up otherwise. And of course, the Team Canada guys were, well, we never said that, but they never said anything. So this is how a person like me feels in the real world, not knowing what's going on and feeling like I have to do what I'm being told. I don't get to be part of the decision-making process. I think that's what we want to do. Is one of the big concepts is really start telling that story and educate the athletes on how this goes. Even 19, 20, 30-year-olds do not know how ad waterfalls work. But then that's what we're going to bring in Brian. He is going to teach the community as we're building in real time how this actually works, so they can make informed decisions, not just be given a piece of paper, say, decide what the price should be. But no one knows what the price should be. That's a random opinion. Who cares?
And everyone has a different opinion on what the price should be. So we have to find a middle ground. And that's the thing. I mean, when you bring in other people's opinions, there's always going to be 1,000 different opinions. Our job is to kind of bring all those together and figure out what the middle ground is that will work for everybody. And even the people that don't agree, they'll see the value in it. So that's kind of my job, is to make people see the value in what we're doing. And I mean, there's so many stories. I think it would be cool to go back maybe on our next little discussion, if you can convince me to do it again, and just talk about the history of, like, how did we roll out the first GT games? Why did we do it? I mean, I think a lot of, especially the new younger kids, don't even know who we are. They really don't. Like, they're like, who's this crazy guy in a Hawaiian shirt? Why does he wear a Hawaiian shirt? Why does his hair look like that? Like,
story. Can't do anything about my hair, sadly.
Well, they do have a thing called salons, you could check those
out.
Barber shops.
Those are the devil.
Hey, I think it could be a fun series where, just people get to know us, get to know the FTA, some of the characters, like, how did we adopt Freddy here? Why is Freddy so important? Why is he our mascot? I mean, a lot of kids, he heard his name. Here, guys. Yeah, a lot of people just don't know, why do you have this orange dog? And there'll be a whole Freddy thing coming out. I'm not going to say anything in the future, but we're going to do more with Freddy. Thanks. So yeah. Anyway, I think it's a good start to where we're going. Maybe people can send us questions they want to answer. Like we could have a question and answer session where we just read off literally questions. They can send them on Instagram and say, hey, on your next podcast, can you answer these questions? That could be fun. I don't know, I'm open. I don't mind doing this. Honestly, I know I've said no for many, many years because I hate being out front of the camera, but I think it's time now. I mean, I did it with my Subaru Rally days. It's not like I can't do it. It's just I'm more focused on making sure everything structurally is working. But this is kind of fun, so I definitely do it again.
Perfect. Well, it sounds like we've signed you up. Perfect. My evil sales tactic worked. No, but but you're right. You know, it is time we do it, and we're going to start talking to the community a little bit more. They're now old enough too to kind of really actually have a educated opinion because they've seen what we've already done. Now they can look at it objectively a little bit more. And then if we can add in that educational component from the Tonys and the Aries and the Bryans and all the leaders that actually do know how real sports are run, because no offense to any of the parents, most of them have never ran a Subaru Rally, national winning team of any kind. They don't understand how it actually works. They just know what's best for their kid, at least in their opinion, but they don't actually know what's best for the whole community. So we get all aspects. Us as the founders that, did the trial and tribulations, did the exploration in the early years where no one else even wanted to look at it, and we were just the people trying to kill kids. You need that part. So that's the energy, right? But then you need the top executives that have been in there in the sports world for many decades, that have seen sports come and go and know the top things to be able to do in the new generation. But then you need the community's buy-in and their opinion that says, yeah, but that doesn't work for our community. Can we tinker it this way a little bit, Mr. Executive, so that me and my buddies have a little bit more fun?
Exactly.
All three of these coming together is what I think 2026 is all about, and being able to have a regular monthly podcast with you. I'm booking you in now. You can't run, and I think it's going to
I can hide though.
You can hide, but
can't run, but I'll hide.
Yell out my tower across the land until you eventually come out.
Well, just so everyone knows, I have the castle. You're just the tower attached to my castle. How about we leave it with that? But
I'm okay with that. Lock me in my tower. I'm happy tinkering away. And I think this is another thing that we're going to slowly release out, is that I'm happy to be outside of the FTA a little bit. The organizational stuff's not my bag. I'm out there hustling and networking and hunting for new opportunities. That's what gets me up at 4 a.m. every morning, because that's what I love to do. So having a strategic separation of focal points is actually going to be a lot better for the whole community as well, because everyone can stick to their strengths. And that way you're not stepping on each other's feet, which is kind of what we were doing the last few years. But now we're clearly demarcating where everyone's going to go, where the community can and cannot go, where the executives can and cannot go. And that also means the investors that are quickly looking over those executives' shoulder saying, okay, how do I invest in this officially? Because once that money comes in, realistically in the next year or so, then it's going to be pretty solid, and everyone's got to be marching to the same tune. So it's not for us, it's for the community, and everyone is kind of investing in this new structure.
I agree. And I'll leave you with one final thought. I mean, I think that you and I are not the experts in this. You are great at trampoline. I'm pretty good at operations, I think, but we are definitely not experts at media and ad waterfalls or sponsorships. And that's why we're bringing in companies or individuals that are experts in those fields, because this has gone way beyond Trish and Greg. So I'll leave you with that thought and look forward to our next talk.
Awesome. Thanks so much for the first one. We will see you next month. And let's start thinking about what kind of other fun stories we can tell the community, because I want them to get to understand about us a little bit more. I've always felt that I've honestly kind of had to hide to the community. I always put on that sort of, oh, Greg's the coach, and yes. But in reality, I'm just like, let's go, let's do this. And I think it'll be a weight off of both of our shoulders if we can do this as well. And it'll help the community understand where everyone is, because it's a giant ecosystem and there's seats everywhere, and everyone's just got to decide where do they want to sit. And we have pathways now where they can learn about what that seating placement looks like, be educated on what that entails, and then actually have a direct effect on the growth of the community in a real way. And I think that's a great pathway to be starting.
I think we might even have to do more than once a month. We have so much to talk about. We can even bring on some guests, like some athletes, to talk about when they first met us back in the day when they were 14, 15 years old. But yeah, I think this is a good point to leave everyone with some thoughts. And yeah, definitely send us your thoughts too. Message Freddie or Greg, and yeah, we'll take it up from here and we'll see where it goes.
All right. Thanks, Trish, aka Freestyle Freddy, and thanks everybody who's tuning in and seeing this. It has been quite a journey, but you guys are officially at the big boy table, and they're actually going to see this video as well. So right now, it's you're evolving from Trish and Greg now into the big boy world. So we're going to help kind of pass you along to the experts, and the community is going to be by the community for the community, and the investment commercial arm over here where I am will be separate, and only when it is market viable and ready and simple, then it will be deployed through the community in a systematic way. So this is the new structure we're building. So thanks everybody for tuning in this long for this many years, and can't wait to see the next steps in 2026.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. It was fun.
The love.